everyone, this is Raptorial, and I finally created a new version of the Marik Ishtar deck. This is a customized deck, not exactly the deck list that Marik or Yami Marik uses in the anime, but about as close as I could get. Starting out, we have the Winged Dragon of Ra, Marik's Egyptian God card, and for this deck, for this episode, I'm just using the original version, the yellow card that was released early on. I do have a legal version of the Winged Dragon of Ra, but I'm not going to feature that one quite yet. That will be added to later versions, because this time we're just going through the anime deck. Later on, I'm going to try to customize this deck to make it something a little more playable today. Probably not Tournament Tier 1, but we'll see where we can go with it. So, I do have a... well, it's called a continuous spell. I'm not quite sure why it's not a field spell. Vengeful Bog Spirit, which slows down play for one turn. The effect is all monsters on the field cannot attack in the same turn that they are summoned. Includes flip summon and special summon. It's basically the rule that was applied for fusion monsters during the Battle City arc of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. I'm not sure why they did that in the anime. In the actual card game, fusion monsters, the turn they are fusion summoned, can very much attack, so I'm not sure why they had that delay in the anime. Vengeful Bog Spirit also was used by Marik to slow down the game during his duel with Yami Bakura. And the Winged Dragon of Ra, with its instant attack ability, got around it. There was this weird listed rule that I don't think is ever in the actual game or really in the anime, that was somewhere listed that monsters special summoned from the graveyard cannot attack on the same turn. And so when Marik revived the Winged Dragon of Ra with Monster Reborn, the instant attack was used to get around that. The anime was weird. So... yeah, that's not an actual rule either. I'm not sure. But let's get to the deck. So from episode 1 last time, I did take out Humanoid Slime and Wormdrake. They confuse to summon Humanoid Wormdrake, which Marik fusion summoned in his first duel with Yugi, or Atem, or Yami, as he was called then. Really, this does absolutely nothing. I think in the custom Marik deck, episode 1, I did talk about the idea of calling this Revival Essence Sliver. Fusion of Revival Gem and a Magic the Gathering monster that I thought would have been awesome, and the artwork does fit for it, but that's not the case. So really, there's no point in keeping any of these. And so this Marik deck is not going to use an extra deck at all. They never did make Egyptian God Slime. I'm also not going to use Vengeful Bog Spirit, so those 4 cards are going out. Now I think I did manage to make a 40-card deck list. So, we will revisit the Winged Dragon of Ra. So, 39 cards. Okay, without the Egyptian god, the Masked Beast Desgardius. This was Luminous and Umbra's ace monster, as well as one of Marik's beat sticks. Summoned by summoning either Grand Tiki Elder and or Melkid the Fourth-Faced Beast. If you don't use both, you can use one of them and another monster. I believe Marik Attributed Milkid and Revival Gem once. But those are still in the deck. Lava Golem. I've never actually played this card. It seems powerful. I did play against one opponent in high school who did use this card. It didn't do so well, but we didn't have nearly as many cards or options back then. Now we got 5 water monsters. So this is based on the Lacunga card, which Marik never actually played, but did remove from his deck during the 4-way duel between him, Yugi, Joey, and Kaiba. It would have been kind of interesting to see Marik use this. It's a planned monster with the effect of, by removing from play 2 water monsters in your graveyard, special summon 1 Lacunga token, plant type water, level 2, attack 700, defense 700, in attack position on your side of the field. The reason we have 4 is not only do they really go with Marik's deck, but if all 4 are in the graveyard, you can tribute, well, not tribute, you can remove all 4 to summon 2 Lacunga tokens and have 3 monsters sacrificed for the Winged Dragon of Ra. Lord Poison summons another plant monster when it's destroyed. Revival Gem, very iconic Marik card. Granadora. Now this one was called Swallowtail Spike Lizard in the anime. Not sure why Swallowtail, but it is a reptile. When this monster is normal summoned, flip summoned, or special summoned, increase your life points by 1,000 points. When this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you take 2,000 points of damage. So, with the Winged Dragon of Ra strategy of increasing life points to feed the Winged Dragon of Ra, it's not great. I do have a monster in mind that I think fits better, but you could combine this with either Relieve Monster or Monster Recovery. And I guess then it wouldn't be too bad. Or discard it for something like Graceful Charity, or Monster Reincarnation, or Magical Stone Excavation. Just put it in the graveyard. Remove it later for Lacunga. Can do that. And Amoeba. And this can combine very well with a spell card called Creature Swap. So, Marik never actually played this, but it really goes with the deck, especially with the Lacunga combo. Legendary Fiend. This monster, during each of your standby phases, gains 700 attack. So if it can survive 1 turn in your next standby phase, its attack will be 2,200. Then 2,900. So if it can stick around for a few turns, it can turn very powerful. The key is keeping it on the field. Hellboemer. Now, people have given this card a really bad reputation. If this card was destroyed by battle and is sent to the graveyard, this effect activates at the end of each of your opponent's battle phases. Discard 1 random card from your opponent's hand. This card must be in the graveyard to activate and resolve the effect. So, with all the removed from play, it can be hard to keep it in the graveyard, but if you can... Now the question was, what opponent is going to destroy this in battle? But remember, you can always attack a stronger monster with it effectively committing suicide by your own command and sending it to the graveyard. And Marik combines this with Coffin Seller. Another way to go would be Skull Invitation. Although that one takes away your life points too, although I guess that doesn't really matter if your opponent is still losing more life points, but this card has one combination that could be worth playing, but I can also certainly see how it's generally a waste of deck space. And Marik has much better options, so this probably won't stay in the deck for very long. But Marik did use it, so it's here for now. Drillago. This machine monster, has an effect that I don't think Marik actually used. When there are only face-up monsters with attack 1600 or more on your opponent's side of the field, this monster can attack your opponent's life points directly. Again, with all the low-level monsters these days, I don't know, but it's certainly not a bad 4-star monster for a machine deck. Makyora the Destructor. Another iconic Marik card. During the turn this monster is sent to the graveyard, the owner of this card can activate trap cards from his or her hand. And Marik did actually exploit this effect, which was interesting to see. Dark Jetroid. This monster decreases the attack points of one of your opponent's monsters by 800 when it is summoned to the field. Not bad. Newdoria, a monster destruction monster. Holding Arms and Holding Legs that recently came out. So, the effect of Holding Arms. If this card is normal summoned or special summoned, target one face-up monster your opponent controls. While this card is face-up on the field, that face-up monster cannot attack. Also, its effects are negated. While that face-up monster is on the field, this card cannot be destroyed by battled or card effects. The effect of Holding Legs. If this card is summoned, return all set, spell, and trap cards on the field to the hand. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one set, spell, or trap card your opponent controls. That set card cannot be activated until the end of your opponent's next turn. They are 4-star Fiend-type monsters that have some staying power and have some opponent's field lock power. Would not be all that crippling today, but certainly very interesting to see them, finally. I imagine they could go very well, actually, with a Dark Necrofear themed deck. Here are two of Marik's monsters that we didn't actually see in the anime, but I believe they are in the manga, and they're based on, well, torture devices, which definitely fit with Yami Marik's theme. Visor Shock and Visor Des. And Boganian. I did take this out. This is just a replacement to make the monster total 20 without the Winged Dragon of Ra. It's just a low-level, very straightforward burn effect monster. Now the spell cards. Monster Reborn, of course. Mask of Remnants, that the Masked Beast Descardius leaves behind when it is destroyed and lets you take control of an opponent's monster. Creature Swap. This is the card that combines with Amoeba. So you can play creature swap when you have Amoeba on the field. You and your opponent will each switch one monster. If all you have is Amoeba, they have to take that, and they will instantly, because of Amoeba's effect, they will lose 2,000 life points. And you can probably make, well, better use than they will get out of this of whatever monster you take. Pot of Greed. Just draws 2 cards. Magical Stone Excavation. Discard 2 cards from your hand. You can get back a spell card from the graveyard. Marik would often use it to retake Monster Reborn for another use. You can certainly use it to do the same. Tribute Burial. Let's talk about this card. Now, I wondered why Marik used this card. This is a strange one, even when it was played in the anime. So, the card says, you cannot special summon for the rest of this turn. Once during this turn, you can conduct a tribute summon that requires 2 tributes by banishing 1 monster from each graveyard instead of tributing. It is still treated as a tribute summon. The Masked Beast Descardius is really the only monster that this could combine with in this deck. Now, I believe Marik used this to remove a monster from play from each of his and Joey's graveyards to summon Hellbowhammer, which only needs 1 tribute, so that was kind of weird. Also, the rule, this spell's weak spot, that it doesn't allow you to special summon at all else in the same turn you play this card, really hurts it. So, oh well. Remove Trap. A very, very simple spell card, yet Marik made potent use of it. It won't quite work that well in the real game. It would actually work better to replace it with Monster Recovery, which you can combine with Granadora. That would be much more useful for this deck. You can keep Remove Trap if you want, but I'm going to take it out for now. Keep in Monster Recovery. Very complicated card, but does combine with Granadora. Fissure. Very good. Very early, but still very useful. Monster Destruction spell. Black Pendant. This spell, Marik equipped to Makyora the Destructor. It increases the attack points of the monster it's equipped to by 500. And also, when the monster and this card attached to it is destroyed, it deals 500 life point damage. Doesn't sound like much, but at the time it was first released, it was a very good equip spell. And Spell of Pain. This spell really has the exact same effect as a spell card we saw in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds that I don't think was ever actually made. It was called Cursed Reflection Doll. It pretty much lets you transfer damage to life points through an effect that you would take to your opponent. Jam Defender. The trap that combines with Revival Jam. Let's see. Yes, Revival Jam and Jam Defender. Deck Destruction Virus. Okay, let's rearrange things a little. I want to talk about that card. There it is. Okay. So, Deck Destruction Virus. Activates when you tribute one dark monster with 2,000 or more attack. Hellbow is just strong enough to set this off. It's in many ways the reverse of Kaiba's Crush card. So, tribute a dark monster with 2,000 more attack. Check your opponent's hand, all monsters your opponent controls, and all the cards they draw until the end of your opponent's third turn after this card's activation, and destroy all monsters with 1,500 or less attack. So, this is the trap card that really destroys a lot of those low-level but very useful effect monsters that are played these days. Although only for 3 turns, and there are so many search effects. Opponent draws. I think that means that you draw through search effects as well. So, I mean, I can't be 100% sure on this because I've never actually played this card. I really don't go for a virus strategy, ever. But for character decks, this could be very powerful, but also has a lot of ways it can be beaten by a lot of cards today. So, this would be the one reason for keeping a Hellbow in this deck if you're going to play it this way. And Gem Defender will go through the trap cards. Ah, yes. Nightmare Wheel. Another torture device trap card. And select one monster your opponent controls. It cannot attack or change its battle position. When it is removed from the field, destroy this card during each of your standby phases. Your opponent takes 500 damage. So it's essentially a shadow spell that doesn't lower the monster's attack points, but instead causes burn damage, which is definitely a Marik strategy. Coffin Cellar. This is the alternative to Skull Invitation. Only deals burn damage when monster cards are destroyed instead of any card. Life Absorbing Machine. This is what I replaced Solemn Wishes with. As long as this card remains face up on the field, increase your life points by an amount equal to half of the total life points you have paid in your very last turn. This, or 2 or 3 of these, makes running Revival Jam much more possible, much more playable. Because Revival Jam costs 1,000 life points to revive each time. But with 1 or 2 of these, you can just regain those life points. And you could restructure this deck to have less burn, more life point gain. I guess you could modify this deck to have a Fire Princess strategy, although not sure if that fits Marik's theme, but you could do it. Metal Reflect Slime. Trap Monster. Summons a, Metal Reflect token with 0 attack, but 3,000 defense. Not bad. They never did make Egyptian God Slime, though, which would be fun to see as a card. Draining Shield. Now, this is a Jaden Yuki card, but it really fits with the life point gain to feed to the Winged Dragon of Ra theme, so definitely worth modifying this deck to fit this. Hidden Soldiers. I almost forgot that Marik played this card. Now, I don't have Malevolent Catastrophe. There was another trap card I forgot to add. I forget which one it was. But when your opponent normal or flip summons a monster, special summon 1 level 4 or lower dark monster from your hand. So it's an extra summon. Very useful for this deck. Card of Last Will. This, I think I got in a tin or a special pack when I opened it. It's been a while now. This actually says it cannot be used in a duel. But at least it has the anime effect, so you can use it in unofficial duels, I guess. Congeal and Mirror Force. We only saw Marik play once. But there it is. And we'll bring back the Winged Dragon of Ra. And take out, let's see, do we still have, did I take out, I didn't yet, okay. And we'll take out Boginian in this deck. Okay, so Ra's back. Okay then. That is the Marik Ishtar Battle City deck.